In this video, I will be using soccer-related examples to explain how we perceive the world around us. First, I will start off by explaining top-down and bottom-up processing. Top-down and bottom-up processing work together to help us understand and add meaning to things we are sensing. An example of this can be seen when a family member is cheering me on while I am playing soccer.
Go, Emily, go!
In this example, bottom-up processing starts when my brain takes in the most basic elements of hearing. These elements include the sound of each letter that is coming out of my family member's mouth, along with the tone and magnitude of these sounds. These elements of hearing are indicated by the specific vibrations on my eardrum and are received by my brain and combined to make up the words that I am hearing. These elements also tell me what the voice I am hearing sounds like. Top-down processing allows me to recognize this voice as a family member's, or my mom's in this case, because I have been around her my entire life. Top-down processing works by taking things I already know and applying them to senses I am hearing, seeing, touching, smelling, or tasting. And bottom-up processing uses the raw, basic elements of these senses to create a bigger picture. The Gestalt principles are rules our brain uses to organize smaller aspects of things we see into a bigger whole. The first example of a Gestalt principle is the figure ground rule. If you were to watch me playing soccer, my silhouette is more detailed than that of the trees behind me because the trees blend together with all of the leaves. And my body, you can see my fingers and nose more detailed. When I go to practice and see my teammates wearing a Ledyard soccer shirt, I look at the logo and I see a sword overlapping an L. The reason I don't see this logo as several different gold and dark blue shapes to make up the sword and two halves of an L split apart is because of the simplicity rule. I tend to look at the logo as two simpler pieces combined to make a whole image rather than all of the smaller, complicated parts. If I were to look at these balls on the ground, I would say that there are two different groups based off of the proximity rule. This is because there are 3 near the top that are very close together and 2 near the bottom that are very close together, but there is empty space between them on the ground. This would separate them into 2 different groups in my mind by their physical distance. Although I can separate them by distance, I can also distinguish 2 different groups based on their similarities. These similarities would be the color. There would be 2 different groups, one with 4 pink and blue balls and one black and white ball.
Hey, can you go get my bag? It's the Adidas one.
Sure. I know that even though the letters and the logo are chipped off, that this is her Adidas bag because the closure rule fills in the blank black spaces to make the letters and the shapes of the logo look whole.
Practicing for the game.
Oh yeah, it looks like we'll be crossing paths. I know we won't meet in the middle and go outside like if I went here into there because of the continuity rule. We tend to follow smoother, continuous paths of lines rather than ones that look like they turn abruptly, like if I went from here to here. So I know we'll be crossing because this person on the outside will move into the middle while the person in the middle will cross over to the outside. Depth perception is the ability to tell how far or close an object may be from you using the 2 binocular and 6 monocular cues. Depth adds a 3rd dimension to sight instead of just height and width. The binocular cues are cues relying on both of your eyes, either the physical movement or the difference in what they see to tell you how far or close something is to you. When I ran toward my water bottle and picked it up to take a sip, I could tell that it was getting closer to me because of retinal disparity. Retinal disparity is a difference between the two images that your eyes see because of the difference or distance between them. When I got closer to my water bottle and put it to my mouth, I saw with my left eye more of my fingers holding my water bottle, and with my right eye, more of the water bottle. This shows a bigger difference in the images that my two eyes saw and meant that the water bottle was getting closer to me. Well, when I first started running at my water bottle, there wasn't a big difference if I were to close one eye or the other. When the ball was in the air, I could tell that it was getting closer to my face because my eyes crossed towards each other, telling my brain that it was about to hit me. This is why I moved backwards, because you don't want a ball hitting your face. Monocular cues are things that we see in our vision that tell us how far or close something is through signals in each separate eye. This means that you do not need two functioning eyes to see depth using these cues. If I were to take a picture with my vision before I kicked the ball, I would see that the ball was closer to the bottom of my picture and the person I was passing it to was farther to the top. This tells me that the person I was passing to, or my sister, is farther away from me and I have to kick the ball far, and that the ball was right in front of me or closer to me because it was closer to the bottom. This is an example of height and plane. Hey, can you get me one of those balls?
Which one?
It doesn't matter, they're the same size.
No, the white one's smaller.
I thought both of the balls were the same size due to the concept of relative size. I thought that the white ball was simply farther away because it looked smaller, and that the blue ball was closer to me because it looked bigger, not that they were actually different in size. When the sun shines down on the bleachers, I can tell that the seat part of the bleachers are closer to me because they are illuminated by the light more, and that the footrest part of the bleachers down there is farther away from me because it is darker or in the shade. Game, if I were a goalie, it may look like I am inside the goal right now, but when I move this way, you can see that I am in front of the goal because I'm blocking your view of the goalpost. Because I am blocking your view of part of the goalpost, this shows that I'm closer to you than the goal. This is an example of interposition. For a corner kick, I lean down to place the ball on the grass, and I see every single blade of grass. But then, when I look off into the distance, where I have to aim the ball, it looks almost as if there's a green carpet with tiny brown shapes on them instead of the leaves that I can see up close here. This is texture grading because when I am closer to the grass over near the corner, I can see every sharp detail of each blade, while in the distance it looks smoother and less sharp in detail. One thing that tells me that this field is pretty long is the fact that the parallel lines made by the lawnmower look like they get closer together at the end of the field. That is what you would see if two people kicked a ball when they were in front of you at the same time. You would be able to tell that one is closer to you and one is farther to you because of motion parallax. This is when the one that is closer to you appears blurrier or to move quicker across your line of vision than the one that is farther away. The one that is farther away appears to move slower across your vision or stay in your line of vision for a longer period of time. When I put these cones out for soccer drills and move away from them, the change in angle and distance changes the image that I see and what shape and size the cones look to me. They now appear to me as tiny trapezoid-like shapes rather than this 6-inch diameter cone with a hole in the top. I know that they did not actually change in size or shape because of size and shape constancy. my gosh, this field is so much bigger than what we're used to playing on.
I know. I'm gonna be so tired during the game. This is annoying.
Because me and my teammate expected the field to be smaller than it actually was, this caused us to feel annoyed and scared we wouldn't perform our best during the game. This is an example of a perceptual set affecting how we feel about something we expected to be different than it was.
I like your school's logo. What is it supposed to be?
It's actually two different pictures. It's a duck, the beak facing this way, and a rabbit with its nose facing that way and the ears going this way. This is an example of a reversible figure. This is an illusion where you can see two images in one. Because I was so focused on getting a point for my team, I didn't even notice that I dribbled around a trash can in the middle of the field. This is an example of inattentional blindness. I was so focused on running towards the goal because it was open that I didn't notice a stimuli or something in my visual field right in front of me that shouldn't be there or belong there. When a photographer or my family member in this case is trying to take pictures of me playing soccer and their phone dies, the loading symbol is an example of the Phi phenomenon. This is when lights flash in a certain sequence that makes them look like they are moving, when in reality they are just flashing on and off. The dots in the loading symbol flash off, making it look like it is moving in a circle. Extrasensory perceptions are abnormal or almost supernatural ways that people claim to know things that they shouldn't know without normal sensory processes like hearing, seeing, touching, smelling, or tasting. These include telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and psychokinesis. When me and my sister play soccer together, we sometimes think we have telepathy because we know what the other is going to do with the ball without using words. Telepathy is when people can send or receive images or thoughts from other people.
I bet we're gonna beat the Bears 3-1 today.
You're probably right. You always guess the scores of the games right before each game.
3.
Oh my gosh, we did beat them 3-1. You were right again. When my sister was able to predict the scores of the games and who would win them several times in a row, I thought she had precognition. Someone with precognition is able to tell what events are going to take place before they even happen. If I claim to be a clairvoyant, then when I'm out sick or unable to play in a soccer game, I would still be able to tell the events of the game as they unfolded, even though I'm not there seeing it with my own eyes. I would be able to do this because of clairvoyancy, or the ability to see events even when they are out of sight. If I were standing across the field playing defense and watched my teammate on offense miss the opportunity to score a goal or kick the ball, I would wish I had psychokinesis. Psychokinesis would allow me to apply force to an object, or in this case the ball, to push it into the goal using just my mind.